In a remote village, there was a large, ancient banyan tree. This tree stood in the middle of a dark forest, rarely visited by the villagers. They believed the tree was inhabited by a ghostly being known as the Kuntianak. In that village, there was a young man named Damar. Damar was brave, but the villagers often saw him as arrogant because he didn't believe in ghost stories. One night, Damar decided to prove that the story of the Kuntianak was just a myth. He walked into the forest and headed towards the banyan tree, despite the late hour and the strong wind blowing. As Damar approached the banyan tree, the atmosphere grew increasingly tense. Suddenly, he felt a chilling cold that pierced his bones, and strange sounds began to echo around him. From behind the tree, a figure emerged, a woman with long, flowing hair, a pale face, and dressed in a long white gown. Her eyes glowed red, and her high-pitched laughter sent chills down Damar's spine. The Kuntianak slowly moved closer, and each of her steps sounded like dry leaves being crushed. Damar began to feel a fear he had never experienced before. Narrator. Quickly, the Kuntianak extended her long arms, with sharp claws reaching towards Damar. Damar was shocked and tried to run, but it was as if his legs couldn't move. The Kuntianak's laughter grew louder and more piercing, echoing through the entire forest. But amidst the laughter, suddenly the sound of the call to prayer could be heard in the distance, from the village mosque. The call to prayer grew louder, breaking the silence of the night. The Kuntianak suddenly stopped laughing. Her expression turned to one of anger and pain. She glared at Damar with eyes full of vengeance, then slowly faded back into the darkness, merging with the banyan tree. Damar ran as fast as he could back to the village. When he arrived, he told the villagers what had happened. From that night on, Damar no longer doubted the story of the Kuntianak, and he became a more humble and wise person. Damar nodded, realizing his mistake. Since that night, the banyan tree was even less frequented by people. They knew that a spirit dwelled there, one that must be respected. And so, the story of the Kuntianak who lived in the banyan tree serves as a reminder that not everything can be explained with logic, and that some things are better left undisturbed.